My name is Thomas Ligotsky, and I am the Global Head of the Energy and Water Business Unit, and it gives me great pleasure to be here together with Jim.
Hi, I'm Jim Calabrese. I'm the IT VP for Platform Operations at Exelon.
How does AI change what the utility industry is looking at, how it's operating, and what the future might hold for us?
Yeah, it's a great question, Tom. First, I think there's some pretty obvious things to get started with. So things like Uber productivity, I'll call it. So that's a pretty obvious thing, but there should be a whole bunch of productivity we can unlock with AI. And then I also think next about things like customer insight. So how can I provide a customer with an ability to see better ways to use their energy, better ways to interact with us, various questions they might have. And the third thing I think about is our assets. And we should be able to optimize in a much better, more thoughtful way how we utilize our assets. And I think that's just scratching the surface. So to your point, I think this is going to just be these stepping stones to more connections between different types of agents and AI helping to build upon other AI to create even more opportunities. So I think it's really important to get started with these smaller, sort of more obvious cases, learn from that, and then grow into something more substantial.
Wonderful. Thank you. There are many challenges in the utility industry today, many things to optimize, but on top of it, you have the shortages in skilled workers. Is there a way that AI could potentially play a role to help overcome that and boost productivity and overcome the shortages of skilled workers?
Yeah, I think absolutely. The first thing that comes to mind is just knowledge, right? We have a lot of subject matter experts today that we rely on, but AI really starts to take the place of that in the future. And really, our ability to ask good questions to get to the information is going to be more key. So getting the knowledge out of our employees, or our aging employees, or employees that are retiring, is really a lot easier and enabled with AI. And then I just think about the complexity in navigating an organization. How do I go do X, or who do I talk to? And I think AI has a role there as well to just help people coming into the workforce to know how to navigate within the company and externally as well. And then finally, I think that all comes together with this, I think of it as agent assist, a little bit to what we were talking about a few minutes ago, about the ability to have more and more sophistication and agents that can help me as an employee do what I need to do and integrate with the different parts of the organization.
Right. And I mean, there's obviously different types of AI. There's the generative AI, there's anomaly detection AI, there's ways to help bring the next generation forward in terms of the skills, as you said, that they need to learn. What are some of the other ways that you're exploring in terms of AI?
Yeah, I think it's a lot to do with customer interaction and employee interaction, and how we can tell people information in the way that they can receive it, the way that it understands, and the context in which they're working, or the way in which they're contacting us if it's a customer. And I think, again, I just think that I often think about AI as something that maybe could even replace some of the integration we do between our systems. If I could have an agent that knows how to work in a particular platform and another agent that works in another one, and I can, as an employee, can kind of use those agents to help me work through what I need to do. Maybe we do less technical integration. Maybe we have more flexibility in the future on how they could work together.
Well, and as you talk about bringing together the systems, you talked about the employee side of things. And your employees, it's very interesting, are distributed over multiple states. And when major events happen, there's mutual aid that needs to occur as well. And so perhaps there's a role for AI in that mutual aid as well. Do you see that as a possibility?
Yeah, 100%. Not only to bring our own people between our utilities that would then understand the design differences and the operational differences that may exist, but even external. There's other contractors that might be brought in, or other utilities outside of the Exelon family that come in to help, and the same sort of thing, to be able to get them up and running really quickly, understand our terminology, maybe even translate it into terminology that makes sense to that utility.
Yes.
Could be hugely important for us.
Oh, that's great. Wonderful. So next question I wanted to ask you is about the vision that you have going forward, and how you think that perhaps working together with IFS, we can bridge the gap to combine strategic, tactical, and operational decision making and into one solution set.
Yeah, I think there's a tremendous opportunity there. And if I sort of take that one step at a time, tactically, I think it's really obvious based on helping people know what to do and how to do it, and looking for really good best practices as they're doing their job. Give me an example of a really good contract. What's the engineering standard for this thing? I think there's just that sort of very tactical piece. Operationally, I think there's a huge opportunity when we have major events, for example, to pre-stage crews and materials where they need to be, and be really smart about how we do that. And when I think about strategically, I think about pulling all of that together, pulling our portfolio investments together in a way where we can look at, do we have the strategy that we lay out? We could maybe use AI to kind of help us, and IFS solutions to help us think through, how do we enable that strategy? What investments do we make? What gaps do we have in those investments? How should we think about that differently? I really think that could help us kind of bridge the gap across all of those three items.
No, that's wonderful. What a nice way of bringing it together. Thank you for those wise words. Yeah. So Jim, Exelon is very progressive, and you have played a key role in formulating the transformation strategy at Exelon. What are some of the observations you've made on this journey? Because this has been an opportunity for us to visit with many global companies and exchange ideas. What is the advice that you would have for those who are not part of this journey and might want to get some insights into your vision for the utility industry and the technology transformation journey? Yeah,
it's a great question and a great topic. I think you first have to think very big. You have to set a vision of the future that has some audacious goals in it, some big outcomes that might seem a little unachievable at first, but what do you need to do to get there? Because you really want to transform and not just tweak and adjust in small ways. So you have to think big that way. I think with that, you have to think broadly as well. It's not just about the particular subject area you're starting with, but what's the context in which that fits? And how does it work collectively with that whole end-to-end approach? I think it's important to look out in and outside of your industry. I think it's really key to see how others are doing something similar, maybe better, maybe differently. Why is that different? How does it help me? And I'd say that the last thing is you have to have a way to break these very large transformations into smaller pieces that help you de-risk the execution of that, but also learn along the way. So you can make better decisions, and you can also adjust if the world around you changes a little bit. And that makes, in order to do that, you really need a technical platform that's composable and allows you to be flexible, which we've seen a lot in the IFS platform that helps us. You need to have a management team that's willing to take things in smaller pieces and be held accountable for being able to deliver outcomes for those smaller pieces. So you can kind of almost earn the next tranche of money, if you will, to be able to continue to go forward.
Yeah, wonderful. Thank you very much, Jim. This has been a great conversation.
Thank you, Tom. Appreciate it.